Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. How are my peeps doing? I trust everybody's doing fine. We are going to have a great show. Let me get a few nicks and knacks taken care of right now, which I think I successfully did. I think I have all those signals set correctly. How are my peeps doing? Welcome aboard. AVQ from El Senor Michael Ruddin from Brooklyn, New York. We have Yvette Avery Herod, our beautiful Yvette from Atlanta, Georgia. In the house as well is Patrick Magner, meow, from Houston, Texas. Magner, we've missed you several days this week in the morning, my brother. How you doing? I hope all is well. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York is in the house. We also have Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood in the house. And of course, we've got our beautiful Joe from Los Angeles, California in the house. As more people join in, we will say, how are you guys doing? Anyway, we are going to have a great show for you today. All right, let's start. AVQ, you're killing me. You're killing me. Michael says, AP, Trump signs a plan for reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners, ushering in economic uncertainty. The policies of tariffs could easily backfire on Trump if his agenda pushes up inflation and grind down growth, making this a high-stake wager for a president eager to declare his authority over U.S. economy. Other nations might also feel the need to respond with their own tariff increases on American goods. A trade war by any other name means higher prices that will make the cost of the pandemic or the post-pandemic inflation. I want to say something about that. Donald Trump thinks he can live beyond what the current economic model, right? With tariffs the way he wants to implement them. Tariffs are usually implemented to start to make more production in your locale, etc. But it inherently means higher prices, because the only reason you went ahead and manufactured elsewhere is because you could reduce prices. Now, standard economic theory will tell you the following. You do the things that you do best in your country. Let other people that can do it cheaper in the places that are done cheaper. But the problem is when you have economies with slave labor, economies without environmental rights, etc., and then you come to the United States where we demand more environmental rights, etc., what happens is they get an advantage over your production here, so you're not playing on the same even field, and as such, tariffs can sort of mitigate some of these issues, but it inherently means higher prices for Americans. And if what they're thinking about is if the reason they elected a fascist is because they wanted lower prices or they didn't want inflation, then look, tariffs are going to give them a one-time inflation bump on all the products that are being sold. Reciprocal tariffs, on the other hand, could also reduce consumption on the foreign side, as those people pay higher prices for our products. And as they do that, they buy less, which hurts our own people here. So look, tariffs is a two-edged sword. If it's used intelligently, you can actually, it can work. But if it's just there to raise money, which is what I think Trump is doing with it, to raise money, then it's a one-time inflation, provide inflation, but it also reduces certain levels of consumption and harms. Now, is it a gamble for Donald Trump? You bet it's a gamble, but I think it's a gamble that he's sure to lose, because again, Americans are going to see that one time. Now, the one thing he's doing is he's passing this early in his administration, right? So because remember, inflation is an ongoing thing. And I wish more people would talk about this when they're talking about these tariffs. Let's say we put tariffs on what's imported. Let's say tariffs on electric cars. And electric cars, that first tariff, you get a bump in the price of the car. But assuming that the car's price otherwise from the exporter stays the same, that is a one-time price bump. And thereafter, for that car, inflation is zero. I think Trump is hoping to bank on that. What he's hoping, however, is that reciprocal tariffs are not necessarily implemented, because along with that one-time tax increase, or rather the one-time sales tax that we have, it's not a one-time sales tax, it's a permanent sales tax. But that one-time inflation, because again, inflation is cumulative. That one-time inflation, it'll only show an inflation bump one time, and thereafter it's a steady state. He's hoping that the reduction in economic activity doesn't supersede the inflation rate. And I don't know, the last time we tried that, it did not work. I want folks to understand that. The last time we tried that, it did not work. All right, continuing. Common Dreams. 8, as GOP pushes tax giveaways for the rich, Saunders launches national tour fight. I'm talking about that. In fact, that is one of the items, so I won't go over that one. Michael Rodriguez, Egberto, second chance to play this Robert Reich inequality video. Actually, I'm going to do that, right? I am going to, let's see if I can actually, bear with me 1 second. This is an old video. It's actually a very old video, but it's a video worth looking at. Well, let me see if it's the one that I think it is. Okay, I think I can play. I think I can play that video. Let's go ahead and play that video, because I think, how long is it? 6 minutes. I got to hold off on that for now, but we may hit it a little later. All right. Bridge says, Egberto, how does MAGA react to this? Excluding Indians, Trump admin questions Native Americans' birthright citizenship in court. Excluding Indians, Trump admin question Native Americans' birthright citizenship in court. The Justice Department again goes on to cite the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which predates the 14th Amendment by 2 years. The Justice Department attorney specifically cite a section of the act that notes that all persons born in the United States are not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States. The Trump administration then goes on to argue that the 14th Amendment language, the phrases subject to jurisdiction thereof, is best understood to exclude the same individuals who were excluded by the act, those who are not subject to any foreign. Oh my God. I don't know, Breach. I don't know. These guys should be embarrassed. I think the Indians should, hear me, Indians, the Native Americans should file suit against the settlers. What do you think, Breach? They should file suit against the settlers. That's what they should do. All right, let's see. Lee Grant is in the house. He says, hey, y'all. Hi, Lee Grant. Welcome aboard. We also have in the house Lee the Bearcat. Logistic costs are key too. Yes, it is. Meaning, and logistic has a lot to do with, supply chain, etc. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain is here. Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas is here. We also have Jay Ray from Houston, Texas in the house. Musk doesn't use subsidies for EV, does he? Of course he does. He gets subsidies from the car companies. It's an offset for the car companies that Musk exists. Of course. Bridge MCP said, Egberto, what and why certain agencies are being torn down? Let's see what that says, Bridge, and see if I can put that on the screen. Okay. That is going to be sort of covered as well in the thing that I'm doing, but here, let's put that on the screen for folks to see. Let's go ahead and put it on the screen for folks to see. There it is. Staffing changes, including the firing of several top officials of affected agencies with federal investigations into our regulatory battles with Elon Musk companies. And there they are on the screen. Transportation violations, Interior, Justice, Agriculture, all against SpaceX. We have also against Tesla, Neuralink, X, and some directly against him. So there it is on the screen, folks. There you go on the screen. Okay, let's go ahead and get to my first video. And my first video has to do, I'll make it run on that. It has to do with why it is that he's getting rid of all those inspector generals, right? He wants to get rid of all those IGs for a reason, people. And here is the reason coming up to you right now. I want you to listen to this. First of all, it turns out that you wonder why it is that El Señor Musk, Elon Musk, is really hitting the CFPB really hard, trying to shut them down. Well, I want you to listen to this piece here by Representative Greg Casar, because he has that answer. Why is it that Elon Musk is going after the CFPB? We also know why he went after the USAID to get that money, but also why is he after the CFPB? Check this out, and we'll take it on the other side.
Subcommittee is supposedly about looking into waste, fraud, and abuse. So I'd like to start talking about independent inspector generals who are supposed to be looking into waste, fraud, and abuse. Mr. Talcove, do you know how many inspector generals at agencies that were investigating Elon Musk's companies have been fired by the Trump-Musk administration?
No.
It is 5. Ms. Royal, the Inspector General of the Department of Labor had 17 open investigations into Tesla and SpaceX. Do you know what the Trump-Musk administration did to that Inspector General?
No.
They fired him. And I think y'all know. Mr. Whitson, the Inspector General of the Department of Transportation was investigating Tesla. Do you know what the Trump-Musk administration did to that Inspector General?
No.
They were fired. The Department of Defense's Inspector General was looking into SpaceX. Mr. Hedler, do you know what the Trump-Musk administration did to that Inspector General?
I believe he was fired.
Thank you. I think everybody on the panel knows what the answer to these questions were. The U.S. Department of Agriculture Inspector General was investigating Musk's Neuralink. Mr. Talcove, now I'll ask you again under oath, do you know what Mr. Trump did to that Inspector General that was looking into one of Musk's companies?
No.
He was fired. The Inspector General at the EPA was repeatedly taking on Tesla. Mr. Hedler, since it seems that you're answering the questions that everyone knows the answer to, do you know what the Trump-Musk administration did to that Inspector General?
I believe he was also fired.
Also fired. At least 5 Inspector Generals that were looking into Elon Musk's companies were fired by the Trump-Musk administration. These Inspector Generals, who are independent, protected by law, they are the people that find the waste, fraud, and abuse and found many of the cases of waste, fraud, and abuse that have been brought up today, fired because they were looking into Elon Musk. At the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, which is supposed to protect workers from getting their unions busted by folks like Elon Musk, made functionally broken by the so-called Department of Government Efficiency that really is the Department of Government Efficiency for Elon Musk, not for you. They are trying to shut down the Department of Education, the Department of Labor. You know what Elon Musk doesn't seem to be looking into? His own contracts. Again, I'll ask you, Mr. Talcove, do you know how much money a day Mr. Musk will receive from the federal government for his contracts?
No.
The answer is $8 million a day. Just last year, Elon Musk was promised $3 billion from close to 100 contracts with the federal government. Ms. Royal, do you know how much the average person in this country who survives on Social Security, one of our seniors who's worked their entire life, about how much they have to survive on a day?
I do not.
$65 a day. We're not looking into Elon Musk's $8 million a day. This subcommittee, chaired by Marjorie Taylor Greene and the House Republicans, is looking into your grandmother's $65 a day. Let me be clear. I think we would all support taxpayer savings, look into money we might needlessly send to billionaires and big corporations, find taxpayer savings and send it back to your hardworking family. But instead, what House Republicans and the Trump-Musk administration want to do is they want to look into your kids' lunch money, your kids' teacher's salary, into your grandparents' Social Security. They want to take that money and give it out in billionaire tax cuts. And they're talking about that in committee tomorrow, in budget committee tomorrow. They just released their plan. So let me be clear. When Republicans talk about government efficiency in this Congress, they're not looking into billionaires who don't pay their taxes. They're not looking into billionaires who get rich off of government contracts. They're not looking into Elon Musk firing watchdogs who are supposed to keep him accountable. They're looking at cutting your public schools. They're going straight for your Social Security. They're coming straight for cancer research. They're coming straight for the Department of Education. They're not looking at big tech. They're not looking at big pharma because those people fund their campaigns. If this committee were serious about rooting out waste from our federal government, then today's whole hearing would be about how Musk and Donald Trump are firing the independent watchdogs who've done this work for decades. Instead, my Republican colleagues' actual goal on this committee is to distract from Trump and from Musk's corrupt war on accountability. This will not be a subcommittee dedicated to making government efficient for everyday people. It's about helping Elon Musk and Donald Trump be as efficient as possible in robbing our government and handing out our government services to the rich. So this seems that this subcommittee is just
the gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman's time.
So absolutely, that's the case. He wants all those regulators gone. He wants all the watchdogs gone because, one, for personal reasons, when his Twitter starts to do transactions, he doesn't want any scrutiny. But then again, he also wants nobody scrutinizing the amount of money that the government is given to all his different companies. The guy is a welfare king because his entire operation is based on so much of the income coming from the federal government, your tax dollars. This guy ain't no genius. This guy doesn't even know how to do these calculations about rockets that we're giving him credit for. It's his salaried employees who are doing all these projects. He's just the puppet master. He's just the one with capital. And in a capitalist society, capital speaks. You can be as dumb as hell vis-a-vis your president, but if you have capital and you're a male of a certain persuasion, we always know that, you know what, man, you can actually make it as you keep the indentured servants doing the work for you. And that is what we need to understand, folks. That is what we need to understand. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Egberto, why certain? I think I put that one on the screen already. Maywood says, good afternoon. Maywood from Long Beach, California. How are you doing, my dear friend? I said, now that I'm able to post this. All right. I'm glad that you are able to post. Michael Rudden says, Elon Musk's Tesla company has received $20 billion in subsidies while he complains about others getting government assistance. Of course he does. That's how they are. They're all crooks. Bridge also says, Elon Musk SpaceX lands huge $38 million NASA deal as he slashes education department. Exactly. And I bet they're not banning that or they're not holding back on that, right? Michael Rudden says, Trump has a pattern of going after prosecutors who investigate Trump for major crimes. See, Musk has the same pattern. Inspector generals are responsible for preventing those in power from using government for corruption. Exactly. And Trump is corrupt. Musk is corrupt. And they're all welfare kings, receiving all their cash from the government, including stealing that building. Remember that? Let's remember that. All right. Michael Randin says, New York Times, 8 inspector generals fired by Trump file lawsuit seeking reinstatement, and they should win that. The case is in the latest to challenge a wave of actions by President Trump that brazenly violated legal limits on his power. Damn crook. Let's see. Breach concurs. Let's see. You said I had a video that you put up there. Let's see. AVQ. Oh, thank you for putting that video, my dear brother. Thank you for putting that video up there. All right. Let's see. What else have we got here? Oh, yes. Tom C. Greg Cesar. Or it's actually Greg Cassar. Nailed it. Tom C., welcome aboard from Michigan. How you doing, my brother? DD says, say it loud for the people in the back. Exactly. You know, this is what we need to do. But here's the thing, guys. This is why many times I'm upset at the Democratic Party, right? We have all the mainstream media either being quiet, acquiescing to the right, or they are misreporting, or they are actually allowing the right-wing message to go through, which is actually a lying message. But in these days, we don't need to depend on the mainstream media. Right now, the Democratic Party could run a 24/7 streamer and give free access to all that material on that network to bloggers around the country. People with newsletters, people with that write all these, people that have spheres of influence, and on a loop every day talk about what the Republican budget is doing, what they're doing to inflict harm on the American people. Have a rolling sheet in one place that everybody can go to, and allow everybody to use this one place and to move that message all over. And if we did that, we could create our own. In fact, I've been trying to do that with a whole lot of other bloggers, but it's difficult for reasons I won't go into here. We could start getting the truth advertised all over, irrespective of what the mainstream media is doing. Just have it on a loop. And we keep on today, this hour, all the things that are affecting Social Security, Medicaid, your children's rights, people's, all these things, and have several YouTube channels that are talking of these and going through them in sequence. And also having other streaming networks that people can get it in every flavor possible, but sanctioned by the party. But they don't think like that. They have a lot of old people still running the party that refuse to think about the future, that refuse to expand their minds into how things would work, right? All right, Didi says Democrats take the fight to the Republicans' constituents. Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. Michael Runner says, Mike, see another confession in the mirror. We already know those you admire are corrupt. I swear, accusing your opponents of that which you are most guilty of straightforward, is right out of the Goebbels playbook. And it's also called reflection, right? Or projection, I'm sorry, projection. All right, Tom C says, Musk says DOGE is totally transparent. It's so transparent that we can see right through it, and there's nothing there. Show us proof, and let the Congress and POTUS correct the waste, fraud, and abuse. Joe says, I love the loop strategy. That is what we need. Projection and transference is what Michael Rudnin says that it is. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. Okay, I think I am going to try to play that piece that Michael Rudnin asked me to play a few minutes ago, because I think it's apropos, especially for those folks who don't get it, right? Let me go ahead and do that real quick. I think I can. How do I do it? Let's get to it real quick if I can find it. Michael Rudnin, I know you had it there. I think that's it right there. Okay, let's go ahead and do that, because at this point it is apropos. So let's go ahead and play that, and I will do that right this minute, I believe. Let's go ahead and do it now. All right, there we go. Okay, Michael Rudnan is correct. I didn't realize that there wasn't a word into it. So let's do this again, because for the podcast, folks, we're gonna need it. So let's go ahead and play that right now, and I hope you can hear me over the sound. Let's go ahead and do it. Or the big picture, how we got into this mess in the first place. There was a time when the gains from growth were more than just for the corporations. 1946 and 1979, growing together. That's how we grew. High taxes on the rich corporations, and we pay for huge investments. That's what paid for the huge investment into making us a better country, right? But as it continued, we grew. But strong labor unions were the result of us getting our rights, getting our bargaining power, civil rights. And the result was we were the richest country in the world, and everybody started increasing again. While he would call it capitalism, this is actually organized capitalism. But then the structure of the economy changed. And when did that happen? In 1980 to 2008. That was under the one and only not Donald Trump, but Ronald Reagan. Big dollars from corporations, trade association, wealthy people, deregulation, lower taxes on the rich and corporations, trickle-down economics started. And the corporate raiders and junk bonds, all these financial instruments that were used to make money not from labor, but from capital. Capitalism, the true definition of capitalism, a financial fraud. They started busting unions. They started doing all these things that affected we, the people. And instead, the middle class started to decline and the poor went to hell. Well, we all know that. Ronald Reagan's magic of the marketplace was only there to supply the rich. That's what it was all about then. That's what it's all about now. Trickle-down economics, voodoo economics, that's what it was called. Tax revolt starts to begin. That's what we need. That's what we need. That's what we need. Anyhow, the structural changes to the economy led to a meltdown. That was in 2008 to 2010, when yet another Democrat, El Señor Obama, had to come and reinflate the economy by reinflating the banks after they crashed the entire economy. Unfortunately, during that time, where we should have socialized the banks, we didn't. And we gave the people who were the result, who caused that destruction of the economy in 2008, we actually reinflated them, thinking that only a capitalist economy could get it done. Well, we knew better, but that's what we did. We went ahead and reinflated these guys with TARP and many other financial structures to reinflate these guys. And as we did that, the poor kept getting poorer. The middle class kept getting poorer. But you know what happened, of course? The rich got richer. The losers of a rigged game can get very angry. So between 2010 and 2016, we had the big backlash. I don't know if you remember Occupy Wall Street. I was a part of that. Occupy Wall Street, the Tea Party, all these other organizations started to revolt. Unfortunately, what they failed to understand is that you have to work together and not get paid off. And that is what occurred between 2008 and 2016. And then came whom? Trump. Everybody thought Trump was going to be that populist that get things done, but he didn't. Forget democracy, we need a strong man. That's what many would say. But you know what? We're about to learn a very important lesson. And that lesson is coming to pass faster than we believe it. Because do remember, in 2016, even though we kind of were there, Hillary did win the popular vote. She did win the popular vote. But as we move on, folks, what came is Joe Biden and a crash caused by what again? Bad management of the economy by Donald Trump. So where do we go from here? According to Robert Reich. And by the way, I'm narrating that Robert Reich is, I don't know what you call this, but between 2016 and 2050, where should we go from here? Either oligarchy ruled by a few very, very wealthy people, or as Joe Brandeis in 1920, we can have vast wealth in the hands of a few, or we can have, and I remember that we took care of that in legalized democracy, the rule of law, big money out of politics, and invest in our people again. And the question is whether we are going to do that. And you know what, folks? We better think twice. We better go ahead and do it and get it done now. Hey, Michael, thanks for giving me a reason to narrate one of my good guys that I like. Reich is picturesque, or whatever you call that. It's our choice. It's our choice whether we accept that or not. It is up to us to decide where this country goes. Now it's time to make fundamental social change. Absolutely so. It is time for fundamental social change, and I'm sure all of you agree. All right, let's see what else we got. Michael, Eric missing the message. Is expected counter-programming is the... No, look, again, like I said, don't even call Eric's name. I just did. But again, Eric is... There is something wrong there. Please. He can look facts in the face and just keep saying the same things over and over and again. All right, nothing trickles down. Exactly, Michael Rodnan. For each FCPC, I remember watching this. He did a few great ones. Yeah, I also did the ones with the wealth distribution, which would make anybody cry. Michael Rodnan says 2008 financial crash caused by Wall Street fraud, and nobody went to prison. Egberto, it was a valiant effort to narrate. Well, you caught me off guard, but I did it. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about immigration. And this message is for all those people who are anti-immigrant, all those people who are xenophobic. Listen to what you guys saw me interview this guy 2 or 3 times, Tim Wise. I want you to listen to what Tim Wise had to say here. Tim Wise, in a speech, he made it clear with quite a few inconvenient truths to those who are anti-immigrant here in the United States, specifically MAGA and others, and to anybody else who wants to jump onto that anti-immigrant bandwagon. What he says here is something you don't only need to hear, but you need to heed. Check this out and we'll take it on the other side.
I'm talking about the reason we have a narrative problem around immigration and the reason we have such vitriol aimed at folks coming across the border. But keep in mind, only one border, right? The Minutemen do not camp out in boats off the coast of Nova Scotia, shooting at those crafty Canadians as they sneak into our country to take advantage of our superior health care. They don't do that. It's just down there at that other border, which I beg to remind you is an artificial border created at the outcome of a war, which was a war of aggression started on false pretense by this country. Not what they taught us in 8th grade, but now that is what happened. So really, folks are coming home. Can I get an amen? People are coming home. All right. They're coming home. They're coming home, and their families were here a long time before the vast majority of ours, and yet we tell them that they don't belong. Very interesting. The reason this is even possible, though, is because of the narrative we've told about how we, and now I'm talking about those of us of European descent, because black folks know how they got here. Right? A lot of Asian folk know how they got here. A lot of folks were brought over, particularly Chinese folk, to work the railroads, didn't care how many of them died, right? Indigenous folks know how they got here, right? But white folks have told a fiction. Right? White folks' story has basically been this. Our people came for liberty and freedom. We came for principles like that. Those people are just coming for stuff. Right? That's what we say in so many words. We came for principles. They're coming for stuff. Let's clear this up. We did not come for liberty and freedom. And I know this because if we had come for liberty and freedom, we would have established liberty and freedom. And I don't just mean with regard to people of color. I mean each other. Like, white folks spent a lot of time in the colonies just trying to figure out who was the bigger witch, right? Like, we just would kill each other. Well, you know, it wasn't like one big happy white family. It was just, you're not a good enough Christian. No, you're not a good enough Christian. No, you're not a good enough Christian. Now I'm going to drown you because you're a warlock. I mean, that was the kind of, like, in a nutshell, that was the colonial experience. So that was not Schoolhouse Rock, right? Yeah, right? So we didn't establish liberty and freedom even vis-a-vis one another. Let's be honest. We came for stuff. We came for stuff like opportunity, stuff like land, stuff like the ability to survive because things weren't working back home. Like, we need to be honest about, like, our people were the losers of Europe. And I don't mean that. I'm not trying to be judgmental or harsh. I'm just being honest. Like, when Donald Trump says Mexico's not sending their best. Okay, you think England sent their best? The hell? Like, y'all like that? Look, the people say, my family came over on the Mayflower. All right, shh. Why are you bragging, Buttercup? That is not... I don't know who was on the Mayflower, but I know who wasn't. The king. The king was not on the Mayflower. Nobody the king wanted to keep around was on the Mayflower. But we have this fictional narrative. It's almost like we believe sometime around 1642, there was a British father somewhere in England that got his family together around the fireplace in the morning and said, all right, here's the thing. I know we're doing pretty well. Like, we got this big castle. We got all this gold. I know it's brilliant, right? It's fantastic. We were at the king's palace last week. Kids, you remember you played with his children out in the garden. Wasn't that great? Yeah, I know. It was amazing, wasn't it? It was great. Listen, that's all fine and good, but Daddy has an idea. My idea is as follows. Keep up, please. Keep up. Gather all your things. Not all of your things. We have a lot of things because we're doing really well. We're rich. We're powerful. Just gather up like a basket full of stuff, and we are going to get on a big boat. And by that, I mean a rickety old ship. Like, I don't even know if it's seaworthy. Like, it might sink. We might drown, get eaten by sharks, get robbed by pirates, get scurvy, die a horrible, miserable death on the open ocean. However, and this is the important part, it will be an adventure. So what do you say? That didn't happen, right? The winners didn't get on the boat. The winners had no reason to leave. And you know what? There's no shame in that. There's no shame at all in having been the losers. In fact, let me tell you something. There's something quite beautiful about the losers saying, we're done with losing and we're going to rebel against that and try to carve out a new life. But you know what? It's every bit as beautiful when folks in Mexico do it, and Guatemala do it, and Sri Lanka do it, and Vietnam do it, and Nigeria do it. And do any of us actually believe that if our family's countries of origin had been contiguous to the United States, that they wouldn't have come undocumented? Like, do we think my great-grandfather, who came as a Jewish immigrant from Russia in the early 1900s, like, if Russia had been where Mexico is, do we actually want to believe that he would have said, well, I would love to be able to feed my family and keep them from dying, but there are these laws? No, he would have done what he had to do. So this whole thing about documented and undocumented is this artificial narrative too. First of all, who's documented and who's not is the result of laws passed by people in power. It has nothing to do with inherent morality or ethics. It has to do with power, straight power relationships. And any of our families would have done the same thing to keep our families alive, right? But if we're not willing to critique that narrative, we can't see ourselves in them, and we can't see them in us.
Now, Tim Wise didn't mince his words. And I think we ought to first absorb them. Understand that being an anti-immigrant, being a xenophobe, being a racist, sexist, all these isms are actually directed at all of us to keep us fighting each other so that this failed economic system that takes away from the many to channel it to the few can continue. Because any day America wakes up and realizes they've been had, The pitchforks are coming, and they know it.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely so. Join. What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Oh, this guy is good. Yes, he is, Breach. He's very, very good. I interviewed him. I interviewed him at Netroots Nation. Okay, let's see what we got here. Egberto, it was a valiant effort for narrate. Thank you, my brother. Joe says, look, facts, denying, yelling, gaslighting attempts. Yep. Don't worry about it. We know the truth. This effing guys continue to misspell my name as if that's some sort of an insult, only knowing himself for. Stop it, Radin. Disregard somebody who doesn't have a lot of stairs, sir. Please. You are a gem to politics done right with sensible information. Don't let any other information dissuade you or waste your time into nonsense. We need you otherwise. All right. Bridge MCP says, oh, this guy is good. Yes, he is, Bridge. That's why I interview him so much. Maywood says, reply, nope, I'm not going to read that one. Mike, let's see. Bridge, Bruce Pollard said he has read Thomas Sewell. Thomas Sewell is a complete sellout that does not know what he's talking about. Well, actually, he does know what he's talking about, but his interpretation lends itself to understand that he's a self-hater and he just does not understand history. To put it bluntly, Thomas Sewell is a fool. And I say that from the depths of my heart as respectfully as I can. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. Bridge MCP, here's the full video. I'm not sure where the clip that was, though. The full video of what, Bridge? Let's see if I know what you're talking about. Oh, from Tim Wise. Okay, 20. Yeah, okay, got it. I thought this one was a later one. Okay. I guess not. There you go. You're right about that, Breach. Okay. What else have we got here? Bruce Pollard said, I meant that as a joke. Oh, no, I know, Bruce. I know. You know, but here's what the right knows how to do, right? The right knows how to prop up certain people, like to make them seem like, they have a body of work that's worth. Look, I tell you, I'm a nobody, but even the right wing attempted to get me to change this program to do, what should I say, to go in the other direction. They have the money to invest and make things look the way they aren't. Anyway, folks, anyone but want to call in, telephone number 281-823-7747. That number is 281-823-7747. Give us a call if you want to add anything to the discussion. I'd love to hear your point of view. I'd love to hear your thoughts because this program belongs to you. Bridge MCP say thanks, but that is over an hour. Michael, Egberto, do you have the one you just showed? Yeah, let me just go ahead and give you the link. I put it on my YouTube. Let me just go ahead and put it on the YouTube because it's already there. Por favor, aguanta un ratito, déjame. Because this one I think I found this one on TikTok. Then I digitized it so that I could turn it into a YouTube video with a short commentary. So bear with me as I get that info for you, which will be in the next 10 seconds. All right. I'm going to give you guys the two videos that I did. This is the one with Tim Wise. Let's see, get shareable link. This is Tim Wise right there. Okay. And this is the one with Kazar. I don't know. I just gave it the American sing. It's Kazar is his name, right? This is Greg Kazar. Let me put Congressman Greg Kazar. Okay. There you go. I think I gave you guys both of them now. Make sure that it works. So if I have to give it to you again, I can. There we go. Thank you for that, Radde. We can always count on you, man. We can always count on you. Okay, anybody wants to call in? Telephone number is 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. All lines are open, of course. And actually, I can take more calls here than I can take at KPFT because I can merge them all into one line. So we could have 50 people on at the same time if we had to. It would be hard to control them, but because I don't mute them individually, but we could. Anyway, telephone number again, folks, 281-823-7747. Who is brave enough to call and say, let me speak to this nice guy and figure out what he's talking about? What are we talking about today? 281-823-7747. We have a bunch of people on Substack, quite a few on TikTok. I'm not TikTok, TikTok. Let me see how we're doing on Instagram. But anyway, folks, we don't have a lot of pull on Instagram that's coming out yet. Anyway, give me a call, 281-823-7747. Where are you guys? Give us a call and we'll continue. Or else I can go to another subject, the Bernie Sanders subject, which is next. Okay, I'll go to the Bernie Sanders subject. Let's go ahead and pull that up right now. And let me put it on the left side of the screen. How do I do that? I put it right there. All right. Congressman exposes, that's not the story. Here it is, right here. It goes like this. Oh, wrong one. I got the wrong one. Let me back up from that. Bear with me, guys. You know how it goes sometimes. Let's get back to... Okay, let me take that off the screen for a while so I can get things set up correctly. All right. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, there's a reason to the madness, okay? There's a reason to the madness. Here we go. I thought I put that thing into the link. Let's make sure that I had it into the link. I hope I did, but maybe I didn't. Okay, it looks like I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go directly to the story. I think I got it from Common Dreams. Let's see. I am pretty sure. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Forgive me. I can't get it right all the time, guys. I won't get it right all the times. Bernie, let's see. Let's see if it's maybe Sanders. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. As GOP pushes tax giveaways for the rich, Sanders launches national tour to fight oligarchy. At last, a Democrat is doing the work. Here we go. It says, today the oligarchs and the billionaire class are getting richer and richer and have more power. There we go. Ray calling in. All right, Ray, talk to me.
AI is taking notes.
Yes, sir. I was actually just saying I really want to thank Mr. Robert Reich. He was actually an inspiration to me when this whole Trump thing happened because,
yes,
after that, November, 4th of 2016, I just woke up, my stomach hurt, and I was like, what's now? What's next? And that's how he mentioned about getting involved with local organizations, which is what I do now. And, I'm kind of locked in, if you will. But the point he's making is that, there was an agreement between the government, the working class, and the upper class. And when Ronald Reagan came in, if I could wear a F Ronald Reagan T-shirt every day, I might be so inclined to do so because, ever since he came through, it's always been, we haven't been able to get above neoliberal policies.
Exactly.
And, to the credit, I was thinking about this the other day. I say, what are we going to need to get out of this mess? Well, first of all, we need a personality. That's going without saying, because we can't win without a personality. So the Democratic Party needs to be able to find a personality that people can relate to again, whether that was Clinton or Obama. I feel like in this day and age, you might have to have like a Clinton. And I'm saying like a white boy who somehow finds a way to connect culturally with the black community to a level that's so high that he's almost taken in, like Bill Clinton was. Now, we could have debates about the neoliberal policies of, his criminal justice reform and whatnot. That's a whole other thing. But from an economic standpoint, the man left us a surplus. I don't care where you stand, if you believe that the country should be responsible about its spending and everything like that, the man left us a surplus. And from what my parents tell me, life was pretty good in the Clinton years. I wasn't wanting for anything.
Actually, that was the best years we had in a long time. Under Clinton, you had the highest employment rate. I mean, the highest number of people employed, bar none. I wrote that in my book. And for those who've never, for those newcomers, I have a book called, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And in that book, on page, I give the list of presidents and how they did. And here we go, Ray. Clinton had in two periods, two administrations, or two, what do you call them? You know what I'm talking about. Two administrations. Clinton had two terms. Thank you. 2 terms. Had 23.1 million people jobs created. Under Reagan, they like to put it like Reagan was a real economics guy. No. Reagan had $16 million. It was good, but it wasn't the 23 million that Bill Clinton had. But let me tell you better. We also had Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter beat Reagan as well. Reagan had a total of 16 million in 2 terms. Jimmy Carter had 10.5 million in 1 term, right? Richard Nixon had 9.4 in one and a few terms. Lyndon Johnson had 11.9. So the real winners are always Democrats when it comes to employment, all of the times. We've proven that. And, I talk a lot about that in my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. So, yeah, that was the case. And even Carter did better than Reagan on a per year basis. So, you have to be careful with the narrative that we listen and the narrative that we hear, because people tend to believe it. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I say, Clinton, what he had was he had a cult of personality. I remember when they used to make skits about him on Mad TV as an honorary black man, and
with
as I found out more about his with the saxophone,
Yeah.
And I don't know who it's going to be now. It might not be a saxophone, but I feel like, in this day and age, if we are to push somebody, it's going to be somebody who I do feel like it's going to be a white person, because America has shown me, from what America has shown me, they don't appreciate leaders of color here right now. But maybe they could show me something different in that 1% that we can't account for. But when we have to hang our hopes and hinges on a minority, there's always more anxiety about that group of folks that don't believe they can vote for the N-word or the woman or whatever have you. So if we could just break past that barrier of, just put somebody who looks the part, but has our policies in mind. And that's what Clinton was. Clinton had a cult of personality behind him, but he had the right policies. And to add to that, he had the right brilliant minds like Robert Reich working on his staff as a labor secretary. And that's what we need. We need people who are willing to put more people like Robert Reich who think about the greater good of society and what government can do instead of how to enrich themselves. And what we need to do is we need to plaster all over anywhere we can in media Elon Musk's face welfare king. Make that crap stick.
You know what? I'm going to make a meme for that. That's a good one. I like that. Elon Musk, welfare queen. I love welfare king. I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
like
you know what? I like queen better. You know,
Okay, Ray. We'll be Queen Ray. Okay. Hey, I gotta go, guy. So look, thank you for calling in, my dear brother. Hey, guys, it got to get out of here. Look, thank you for the call. Thank you for listening. Thank you for chatting. Can't do this without you. Please remember to support our program at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. We simply cannot do this without you. So please support us. Many ways to support us, folks. Again, the first way is you can become a Patreon by going to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. If I can get this stuff up, maybe I can get it up. There we go. Politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. I'm putting that link in the feed right now. But Tom, Greg Hazar is awesome. And Maxwell, check out Maxwell as well. These are the youngsters coming up. But please support us by becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. A lot of good things out there. So I got to get out of here, but there you go. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Love you all. Got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.